This next project solves a problem that tons of developers, marketers, and business people alike face all the time, which is querying data from a database. Several decades ago, a little tech company called Oracle developed a language called SQL or SQL, which is designed for this very purpose, an easy, intuitive interface to grab data from a database. Unfortunately, maybe any of you watching it here who've worked with that language, you know firsthand how difficult it is to use this language. Our students definitely feel that pain in the first half of our program in junior phase. Enter Sequelize. Sequelize is an enterprise-level platform for query building. It's sort of the spiritual successor to the original SQL language, making it easy for technical and non-technical users alike to grab data from a database. Without further ado, I'm going to hand things right over to Sequelize.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with Sam and Ross. My name is Kyle, and we developed Sequelize. Building SQL queries to retrieve data from database can be challenging, both for people just getting started with SQL and for seasoned developers who have experience with SQL and want to build more complex queries. It can be very easy to get lost. Sequelize allows users to better visualize their database and constructs the query in a simple step-by-step process. We reimagine the typical SQL query and instead start with from, then select, then where. In the from section, the user chooses the tables and any necessary join conditions. Then in select, the user chooses the columns of the desired tables. And lastly, where will filter the results, will automatically filter the results. Then the SQL query gets developed at the bottom of the page that the user can then copy and paste in their preferred SQL query environment. We also include a preview of the table for the user's reference. Now Sam will talk about the technologies we use and the challenges.
Thank you, Kyle. So in designing the front-end layout, the core challenge was to balance simplicity and complexity. The SQL querying language is very powerful and therefore can be quite complex. We wanted to keep things on the screen simple and visually appealing while still providing full SQL querying capabilities to stay true to real-world use cases. It was important to us to simplify the complex, often messy SQL syntax into a visually appealing, clean, guided interface that lets the SQL student or novice user easily navigate and understand the process of building a SQL query. To that end, we chose to use a core stack of React.js and semantic UI on the front end. As my colleague Kyle just mentioned, we divided the query building process into three main components, select, from, and where. Each of these components is further subdivided into yet smaller components that allow for the full customization of a SQL query. We present those subdivisions as distinct rows that can be added, removed, and even reordered using simple drag and drop that we implemented using the react-beautiful-dnd library. Now my colleague Ross will present a live demo of our app.
All right, so in this example, Alice works for Evil Corp. Alice is having a bad day and wants to fire someone to feel better. She needs to find an employee with an overall performance rating of 3 or below. She first connects to Evil Corp's database. When connected, the database schema is read into Sequelize. Alice is somewhat unfamiliar with the database, so she uses the Database Structure Explorer to review the database schema. When she's more comfortable with the database structure, she starts to create a query in the Query Builder section. She first adds rows with tables and join columns to the From section. At each input in the Query Builder, Alice receives context-specific guidance. The database has 7 tables. As Alice types the word employees into the first table input box, the list refines itself. Venn diagrams help Alice choose the appropriate join type to use. In addition, when Alice is focused in the first join column, the employee ID field is recommended for the join. When she's satisfied with the From section, Alice moves on to the Select section and chooses the column she wants to include in the query results. Alice chooses 5 columns from the employees and ratings tables combined. Any errors she encounters are highlighted in red. Finally, Alice chooses query delimiters in the Where section. She chooses to filter by year in addition to ratings that are below 3. On the bottom, Alice's query text is being built live. At this point, it is completely valid, executable SQL, almost ready for her to use. Alice is now satisfied with her query. She previews its results by clicking the Run button, and a preview table is ultimately created that includes her query results. Alice is happy. She has at least one person to fire. Alice can now take the generated query text she's built and execute it in a full-featured SQL querying tool or include it in an app in the future. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about Sequelize, check out our website or GitHub. That's it.
What a great job.
Yeah.
I really like that product a lot.
Yeah. I was impressed with how anti-fragile that platform was. It's very easy to build a flawed query builder. Part of the difficulties of the SQL language is it kind of has its own grammar. Just like it's easy to misspeak in a language like English and say like, oh, John and me versus John and I or whatever. It's easy to write broken SQL queries that your database does not understand. Thankfully, I think the developers behind Sequelize put a lot of thought and effort into creating a very seamless interface where only correct, acceptable queries may be generated. Much easier said than done.
Absolutely. And on top of that, I thought that they had a very nice interface. Something that often goes by the wayside on short developed products is sort of the user interface. And this seemed to have a very natural one. It looked very nice. And I would be happy to use it too.